Hello my dear students, welcome to my chemistry lab, better known as my kitchen. I'm here to finish up our lab, this lab 4 that was handed out to you, and by now you should have watched the video labs and recorded your results in the section, appropriate sections in the data section on these data sheets for the sections of the lab that I've posted videos of. Okay, so let's review our results from those labs and show you what yours should look like. So we have several tests that we did. We looked to react each of our substances: barium, calcium, lithium, sodium, potassium, and strontium ions. Their names are written out. I put the elemental symbols up here, but you're going to record this in Part B table on page 55 at the bottom. And when we reacted the barium atom with the sodium carbonate, I didn't have ammonium carbonate, but the important thing is the carbonate anion, we got a precipitate. With calcium, we got a precipitate. With lithium, we got no visible reaction. With sodium, we got NVR, no visible reaction. And with potassium, elemental symbol K, we got no visible reaction. And with strontium, again, we got a precipitate. Okay? And then we reacted them with ammonium hydrogen phosphate. And these are all great substances, as we'll see later when we start studying aqueous reactions and solubility. They use the ammonium salts because ammonium salts are always soluble. But, like I say, I substituted sodium carbonate because I didn't have the ammonium carbonate. But this time when we react barium, we got a reaction with the phosphate ions that formed a precipitate. Calcium slowly formed a precipitate, a little more lightly, but still very distinct reaction. But again, the next three gave us no visible reaction for the lithium, sodium, and potassium. So in those boxes in your table, you should write no reaction, NR, or no visible reaction, NVR. And of course with strontium, we got a precipitate again. Mm-hmm. When we reacted our 6 solutions with ammonium sulfate, the barium gave a precipitate, the calcium gave a precipitate, the lithium did not react, so we're going to write no visible reaction. The sodium did not react, so we're going to write no visible reaction. The potassium did not react, so we're going to write no visible reaction. And the strontium gave us a precipitate, whether we heated it or not. But heating the tubes and practicing setting up a boiling water bath and heating a reaction is a good technique just to have demonstrated and covered anyway. Sometimes you'll see things react differently given different temperatures, but in this case it didn't make any difference. And I think in a minute we're going to see how this all falls out. Then we did a halogen test where we reacted it with nitric acid, sodium hypochlorite, also known as bleach, and extracted I have allergies, that is not COVID-19. And you know me, I need to be drinking whenever I'm lecturing. That halogen test produces a colored product that we extract into a hexane layer. And when we reacted the chlorine, we got no visible reaction. Okay? With the bromine, we got an orange-yellow color. And when we reacted the iodine, we got a very strong purple color, purple, extracted into the hexane layer. Actually, it was pretty much everywhere because I made up a very concentrated solution. And so we got very distinctive reactions with our different halogen ions. Chlorine ion, as you'll see from the last part of chapter 3, we will now call it chloride. The bromine anion we'll call bromide. And the iodine anion we'll call iodide. We're going to cover that in a section on naming the compounds, binary compounds, when we finish that chapter, and I will post that post haste. Now, the last thing to do is for you to fill in your answers and complete the reflective exercises that summarize our results from the lab, and I want to summarize them for you. I'll let you answer some of them. For example, number 1, going back to the flame test, if you want to get a red, brick red color, what would you use? And that would be calcium, which would look more orange for us and on the copies. But it asks you to group the 6 metal ions tested into 2 families based on your observation of their reactivities with ammonium carbonate, ammonium phosphate, ammonium sulfate. Well, do you see some trends here? The barium precipitated in every case. The calcium compounds gave a precipitate in every case when reacted with these polyatomic oxy anions. The strontium in every case gave a precipitate. So I'm going to group those together because they were rather conspicuous. So, to answer question 2, look, some of them gave a precipitate. Barium, calcium, and strontium. And some of them didn't. The lithium, the sodium, and the potassium. Now, if you go to your periodic table, what do you see when you look at those? Well, let me go with family 2. Family 2, lithium, sodium, potassium, are all group 1A metals. Remember, I like to use the Roman numeral group 1A designation. So these are all 1A, and those are known as the alkali metals, or the alkaline metals. Because when you react them with water, and they react very violently, and I'll do a demonstration of that with water, when you react them with water, they form an alkaline solution. If you look at family 2, barium, calcium, strontium, along with magnesium and who else? I'm trying to remember everything in my periodic table. Those are all group 2A metals, also known as the alkali earth metals. Because, again, they form alkaline solutions when they react with water, although not quite so vigorously. You get some bubbles when you add calcium, for example, to water. But over time, they all form an alkaline solution with water, and they're common in the earth. For example, obviously calcium carbonate, the major component of what? Limestone, chalk, marble, those types of earth minerals. So, there's your answers for question 2 and 3. And next, I'll let you answer question 4 on your own. There's a variety of answers. It's asked you to extrapolate from the periodic table and answer some questions about how these different elements are grouped and classified. And then it asks you about 2 unknowns. This is why I colored this lab in color for you. If you look, it says you have a mystery substance, gave no reaction with ammonium carbonate, ammonium sulfate, or ammonium phosphate, And the halogen test gave a purple flame, and that, not the halogen test, I'm sorry, the flame test gave a purple flame, and of course that is potassium. Gives us that pretty violet flame. I might have told you I'm from Texas, and unlike around here where people use apple wood or pecan wood or what else do they use? All different kinds of hickory for smoking and doing barbecue. We do mesquite. Mesquite smoked barbecue in Texas, and mesquite wood is really beautiful when it burns. You get a kind of a purplish flame or purple highlights in the flame because mesquite trees tend to concentrate potassium. So anyway, it gives a purple flame. And you had a purple halogen test. Well, if you go back over here, that was I-. They only ask you to name the ions present, but obviously this substance was potassium iodide. For number 6, it says it gives a flame test shown in the image. It looks orange to me, but it's officially brick red, which would make it calcium ions. Besides the fact that when reacted with ammonium carbonate, ammonium hydrogen phosphate, and ammonium sulfate, or at least after heating with ammonium sulfate, the calcium gave a precipitate, or the substance gave a precipitate, which would make it calcium. Okay? And then it said we had a negative halogen ion test, in other words, no color produced, and that would be what? Chlorine. So this compound would be calcium chloride, CaCl2. Doesn't ask for that, but it asks you to name those ions present. What I want you to do is fill this out, answer these questions. You have 3 sheets, front and back, and you can do whatever you want. You can scan them and turn them into me. You can take pictures of them and text them to me. You can drive by and drop them on my porch and honk and then drive away. But I think we can find more practical ways of turning them in. I really don't want a hard copy, even under the best of circumstances. So get this lab turned in so we can have another grade. This was a fairly significant, long 3-part lab. Particularly long because it was interrupted by several weeks of spring break and inactivity, but we're back on path now. I will have another lab posted and ready for you to start. I've already videotaped it. If you've explored my YouTube channel, you probably may have gone in and seen them rather than go directly through the links, but I will have another lab posted tomorrow or the next day. We'll finish that chapter, move on quickly to chapter 4, and I will have a test posted for you this week, and I'll give you a week to do it. It's an online test, open book, so it shouldn't be, hopefully, too much of a problem for you. I hope you enjoy it and hope you learn something by doing the test, and I hope everybody makes an A. So nobody drop. We're going to get through this together. We're going to get through this isolation and quarantine together. If anybody needs help of any kind, please reach out. If you don't know who to reach out at the college, reach out to me and I will connect you. Don't forget we have a food bank. Watch the forum in Moodle. I will make a notice about when the next food bank distribution is. When I hear about it, it will be out at Seabrook, Seark at Seabrook, south on Hazel Street, past the interstate. It's 2.5 miles away from campus, but you just drive through, pick up a box of food for you and your family. There are no requirements. They just want you to sign a list. We'll see that you get what you need. Don't forget, we're having the Shark Pond or whatever. We're having free Wi-Fi till 9 o'clock every night in the parking lot in front of the library. You may even see me there some days. I live out in the country and my internet service is quite variable. So if you need help with anything, please ask. I want to hear from you. So finish this lab, get it to me how you can. Keep watching our Moodle page for notices in the forum for an additional short lecture and another lab coming up. They're already recorded. I just need to get them posted and formatted for you. So until then, goodbye now.